Welcome to another edition of the Polto Show. Before I bring my special guest on today, don't forget about credit. If you have a credit problem, you can call my toll-free number. How many people out there remember songs? You know, I was doing some surveys on this, and years ago, we used to love all the songs out there and all the artists out there, and we knew them. We knew what they sang. We knew their names. And today's kids, I'm going to say kids today, it's not the same. It's not the same because they can't even remember something of 5 years ago. So we have to always like stay in tune of what we're doing. And years ago, I still have songs and I still play from the songs of a year ago. But if you remember the songs of some of the groups out there, and I'm going back on the groups. But before I bring my guest on, because it's a very special guest, had him on before, but he's still going strong with it. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank Dr. Linda Savin. She's got a radio show in California. If you're in California, tune into KHTS 98.1. She's good at what she does. She's the host of the show, but she's advertising me with my credit, so I'm getting many calls about her, and I thank her. So I hope she's watching because I want to thank her as well. But there's a legend at the same time. Years ago, my guest today, he shared a stage. He shared a stage with many artists that many of you are familiar with. At least I am. Richie Haven, Jackie Wilson, Janis Joplin. She was my favorite. Smokey Robinson. But instead of me talking, let me bring him on. Let me bring on Jeremy. Jeremy, are you out there?
Hi, Pearl. It's Kenny Jeremiah, right here with you.
Kenny Jeremiah, how many remember, and I hope that many of you remember him with all the other stars that he sang with. How many did you sing with? How many other, like when you sang on a stage? Because I know you're from the Soul Survivor.
Well,
But tell us
there's so
about the
many.
people. How many
Along with the
artists?
Soul Survivors, after the Soul Survivors, I was with Shirley Goodman, who was, remember Shirley and Lee? Come on, baby, let the good times roll. Come on, baby, let me fill your soul.
You're still
Well,
singing.
she went on to have the number one disco hit in the 70s, 74. She had Shame, Shame, Shame. And it was Shirley and Company, and the artist that recorded with her became a minister, so she needed somebody to do the tour with her. We did a big disco tour. She asked me to be her partner, and I sang with Donna Summer, Van McCoy, Gloria Gaynor. Over the years I've sang with Dee Dee Sharp. Last year I was with Dee Dee Sharp at the Senior Miss America uh, tournament. What was it? The Senior Miss America pageant.
Wow.
That's the
Wow.
word I was looking for.
What kind of group do you get when you're on these stages with these people, the oldies and stuff? What kind of group that comes in to see you?
Well, we get a whole cross section of people because we're not an oldies band. We play stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and stuff that's current now. I'm talking about Jeremiah Hunter, my big band that I have now. Um, when I
Wait a
do
minute. What is that called? Jeremiah Hunter? That's your new band, right?
Jeremiah Hunter, yeah.
That's your
Well,
name.
it's my name
It's
and my
Kenny.
partner's name is Bobby Hunter. Kenny
Okay.
Jeremiah, Bobby Hunter, Bobby. So it's the Jeremiah Hunter band. And as a matter of fact, we just finished Harris, and we'll be February 28th, Friday. We'll be at the new club at Caesars, the 21 Bar and Lounge, 2100 Bar and Lounge,
This is in Jersey or Vegas?
Atlantic City,
Okay.
Caesars. But I also DJ and do a dance party every other Wednesday in Williamstown at Rax. And it's a great dance club, restaurant. I work with a DJ there, and I also DJ. And if you want to come and have dinner, you have to make a reservation 2 weeks in advance. That's how packed we are all the time. So I'm doing everything. I do a duo with a great keyboard player. I do a single down in Wildwood at La Piazza. I'm working constantly.
Do they pay you for this when you do sing on these clubs or no?
Pearl, I don't work for nothing.
Okay, well, you never know. I mean, I see on the stage now Frankie Avalon, Bobby Rydell, they're all joining, and Fabian, they're all joining forces, all three of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So, and
I,
I see, they don't die, and I love it. They don't die, and that's what.
well, we keep the music alive. Today's music is, I, it's not good. If you, for example, last night I was at Caesars. I sat in with a group, a David Christopher band, which I work with also sometimes. And he made an announcement about the Soul Survivors and Expressway. And he said, how many people remember it? Well, the older people remembered the song because the song is 52 years old.
Wow.
But the younger people didn't remember until they heard the horns, and the first bass line. Then they know it because they heard it, on the radio, or a lot of news people used it for traffic, so they knew the song. So everybody knows the song, but it is 52 years old.
Wow. Wow. And you're still there. I asked you if you remembered an old friend of mine, which was Frank Virtue.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, where they go with it. But I was doing some homework on you, and you live in Jersey, correct?
Yeah,
How
I
come
do.
you never moved to Hollywood, California?
Well, I played out in Hollywood and California. California is worse than Jersey for taxes and for all the crazy stuff they do out there. I'm not interested in that. If I was going to move anywhere, it would be Florida.
Okay, I was
Florida
just
has a lot of our peers down there, and a lot of friends go down there to work, and you can work anywhere because there's a lot of over 55 communities. And I have half of my family lives down there. My cousins, they're all involved in music, and they work down there all the time.
yeah. What is the Philadelphia Walk? What is the Philadelphia Walk?
Oh, the Walk of Fame. It's
Okay.
Philadelphia Music Alliance Walk of Fame. Everybody is on that. Um, we were inducted in 2017. We got a plaque on that Wall of Fame, the Walk of Fame, in front of the Kimmel Center. And the people that were inducted our year, Patti LaBelle was with us, Sister Sledge, McFadden and Whitehead. Also, I don't know if you know Joe Nicolo.
No.
He owned Rough House Records. They were the biggest rap company in the country. And Bob Pantano, he was inducted with us. But
Wow.
Jim Blavitt's been there. The Teddy Pendergrass is on there. The Blue Notes, the Stylistic, everybody. Anybody that, Philadelphia artists.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the stylistics that I knew. I knew when I was in the recording business itself. The people that you named, even Janis Jobson. I have no idea why she was my favorite. I think she was so gung ho with everything she said to people. She had a big mouth, but it was good. And Smokey Robinson and Jackie Wilson, and you appeared with all of them. And what made you, just because it's in your heart, what made you continue it? I mean, do you do anything else besides the singing or besides
No,
the bands?
no, it's the one thing. When I was 13 years old, you would remember Alan Freed. Remember
Yes,
Alan Freed?
yes.
Alan Freed was the one that coined the term rock and roll. And he was the biggest DJ in New York at the time on WINS. And he would run these rock and roll shows at the New York Paramount, the Brooklyn Paramount. And he'd have all the current artists on there. And I went to one of his shows. I was 13 years old and went with some friends. And the headliner was Little Richard. Little Richard was all over the stage. He was on the piano. He at one point, he's on top of the piano, he's singing. He grabs his heart and he falls off the piano. The band stops. They carry him in the back. And over the microphone, you hear, I get so tired of faking this every show. The band kicks back in. He comes running out. He jumps in the orchestra pit. They had to pull him out with the trombone. I never forgot that. I said, that's what I want to do. And I never looked back. That's what I want to do. And a lot of times I performed like that. I'm getting older now, so I don't get as wild. But there were times I used to set myself on fire, to jump over the fire. I had makeup. I smashed stuff on stage. I jumped I jumped off 20-foot stages. I don't do that anymore.
How come? How come? You're not that old. You still look good.
uh, Pearl, I
I don't want to hear. I don't want. I didn't ask your age, but I said you look good.
I slowed down a little bit. I still jump over chairs, but I don't do it as much anymore.
Well, you're eating right or doing something right because you haven't changed. I'll be honest with
Well, I
you.
work out every day. I try to keep, take care of myself. And I had young looking parents. So but I'm never afraid to say my age. So I just turned 77 in November, last
What?
November.
What? Are
I'll
you
be,
serious?
I'll
Oh
be
my God! No,
78
no, no,
this year.
no. I
Oh
would
yeah.
say no. I would have to call you a liar there because I would say no. You still look like you're in. I would say 50 some.
But
That's what I would say. If not 40 some, because I mean, just looking at you, you look good. You really. I'm not going to be honest. I'm an honest person. I'll say it like it is. But you look good. You really
well,
do.
I worked out all my life. That was a way of life for me. I would work out everywhere.
Is your voice still the same as the way? I mean, is it still the same when you sing?
Well, I would say my voice is more powerful, but I'm in a lower range now. I don't have where I used to sing real high. I don't sing high anymore, but where I sing very powerfully. It's more powerful. I've learned how. I took lessons from an old opera singer, and he showed me how to breathe and how to project, and that made a world of difference to me.
Opera. Who was the opera singer? Do you remember?
Ed Locke
Okay, no, no, I don't
in
remember
Cherry
him a
Hill.
bit.
He had a great he taught. He had a great studio, and we would go there and we'd have master classes, and he taught me a lot. He really did. But he used
I think I've seen a show at the casinos one time, and I do believe that the singers from the past, like Bobby Rydell and Frankie Avalon and Fabian, they're still going strong. And somebody said, I wonder if they have other jobs. And they said, no, this is their career, this is who they are.
that's
Now,
it. Yeah,
that's it. You would say the same thing?
I would say the same thing. If you're an entertainer, you're an entertainer. If you want to pump gas, you're a gas attendant.
Gas pumper.
You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people who are part-time musicians,
Right.
but for me, it's been a way of life. You know what? My first thing I do every morning, and this is the truth,
Go ahead.
I thank God for another day of life, another day I can earn a living doing what I love, and another day of all the blessings He's bestowed on me. That's my prayer every morning.
Well, he's giving you your answers. He's definitely giving you your answers because not only your music, but it's interesting. This is your main thing. But how do you get to work? Do you have to contact them, or do they recognize you? Do they contact you to perform? How does that work?
Well, a little bit of everything. Um, a lot of people call me because they know me. I've been in the business so long, and they know my reputation. So they'll call me and ask me. Like for example, I've opened for the Duprees. I've worked with just recently Doug Church, who is the number one Elvis impersonator, Elvis tribute artist. We don't say personator, tribute artist. And they call me and they ask me if I want to do that. But sometimes we go through an agent, and uh, it's just a little bit of everything.
So you still go through an agent, and he books you, right?
Yeah, there's certain jobs that I go through an agent. Yeah.
Now let me ask you something. From years ago to now, do you ever get like scared that your voice is going to go, or do you ever get like you're not going to perform the best, or you don't even think like that?
Well, there are times when I'm under the weather, like I'm sick.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's really hard to perform, and I've had pneumonia. I've had a hernia operation. Those times, you know when to lay back. And you don't force yourself. For me, thank God that I'm in a position where I don't have to take the work. I pick and choose now. I call myself semi-retired. I like
I love
that.
it. I love it because you're still dealing with what you did. You know, I do credit. I've done it for 30 years, and I do agree with you. Once you love something, you stay in it. You
Yeah.
don't get out of it. And that's what you're doing. Do you ever run across I'm sure you do when you're singing. Do you ever run across the same people and they say to you, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you in ages." Do you
Oh
ever,
yeah.
and you get, why haven't you? Okay, I know you sing, I know you had albums, but why don't you sell them?
Well, I do. I'm online at anywhere you download music, you can download mine. I have recordings out everywhere.
Okay, and
Uh,
would they download it? They have to buy them, or what?
well, yeah, when you download, you go on iTunes and you put in Kenny Jeremiah, and my songs will come up, and they're 99 cents a piece. You know,
Oh, all
you don't
right.
have to buy an album.
So,
Buy songs. You know.
so the songs you like. I have a picture of here when you were way back, but you had blonde hair. What happened?
Oh yeah, I had blonde hair.
What happened?
Well, nothing. I did it a couple of years. I liked blonde hair, so I had my hair done blonde.
Who remembered you, and who was that really super strong? Was I'm sure you remember her, Bunny Gibson.
Oh sure.
I
I
know
just
she's
I
wifed
see
you.
I see her every once in a while when I go to see Jerry Blavat sometimes, and because he's an old friend of mine. He helped us as a Soul Survivors, and I
Jerry
run into
Blavat,
Bunny.
he's an old friend of yours.
Who, Jerry?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jerry. In the beginning, with the Soul Survivors, we were just a local band playing in Philadelphia, getting a big name,
Right.
and Jerry put us on his TV show, and it put us on even when we didn't have a record, and we got popular there. And then Jerry owned part of Expressway at the time, and then he sold his interest. But yeah, and we go back a long way. Jerry's a good friend. Bob Pantano, I do a lot of work with Bob. I'm on a lot of his shows. I'll be with him the end of this month, the 26th of February, at the Apollos.
He was on the
I'm his,
radio show, right? He was the radio artist, right?
he's, he's still on the radio.
He's
Yeah,
still
he's
on the
got the
radio.
longest radio Saturday night dance party on
Okay. Yes.
98.1.
Yes. Now Jerry Blabbett, he used to have. I used to go there with his dancing.
Oh yeah,
He
he
had it in
still
Philadelphia.
has that. Yeah,
He still has that.
yeah,
Oh my God.
he works everywhere. There's a guy that doesn't slow down. I said to Jerry one time, "Oh, Chair, why don't you take a couple of days?" He works 7 days a week,
Yes.
and he's older than I am. I think he's 70. I'm going on 78. He's going on almost 80 now.
Amazing. I
Yeah.
can't. It's amazing. And when you looked at them years ago, they all looked young. They still look the same. You know,
Oh,
not.
Jerry's in great shape. He works out.
I know his
He does.
daughter, but it's interesting. I used to go to the dances in Philadelphia. I forgot what it was called, but he used to have the dances in Philadelphia, and they used to
Yeah.
advertise for them and all. But it's. I think it's good if you have a talent and you want to stick to it. How many people don't stick to it? They're afraid to, or they think they're not good anymore. And I love the people that stick to it because they know they're good.
Well, there's a lot of people that, for example, you asked me if I had children. I don't. But some people in the business got married, had a family, and then had to get a day job to support the family and couldn't do this. If you're not successful, it takes a lot. Thank God I've been successful. But for an ordinary guy to make a living in this business, it's hard. You got to sacrifice. There's a lot of times. Well, for example, I have a friend down in Wildwood that owns a restaurant. Well, in the wintertime in Wildwood, you don't do a lot of business. I'm fortunate enough to go in to help him. Some nights I'll go in and work a night. He doesn't have any business. I tell him, just give me a bowl of scuttle and beans, and we're happy.
It's amazing. You don't die. You don't die, and you wonder. Now I understand why the three of them got together. But why would the three of them get together? I think Bobby Rydell, Frankie Avalon, Fabian, they're all good in their own day, but now they join forces to
Well,
sing together. How come?
well, they were all from the same neighborhood in Philadelphia, South Philly, and they've all had major hits. So when you put them together, it works. It's a nostalgia thing, and
Wow.
it works real well. I was with Bobby Rydell last year, and he's such a sweet man. We were not inducted, but we got into the Vietnam Veterans Association down in Wildwood, Chapter 922, the same day. We got in together because we both were veterans. And And then he came to La Piazza and got up and sang, and we were singing together. And he's just a sweet man, Bobby Rydell. He really is.
He started the hard way too, you know. He definitely started the hard way. He had a voice, but I think a lot of them. And who's still going strong, believe it or not, I'm hearing, is Frankie Avalon. I mean, he's still hitting
Oh
them.
yeah.
And he's hitting
Oh
them by
yeah.
himself as you are.
Yeah, he's great, Frankie Avalon. He's got that smooth, you know.
But you, when you lead off your songs, do you lead it off with "Stairway to Heaven"? How do you lead?
I no, I haven't done Stairway to Heaven since I was with Scorpion.
Well, how about the Soul Survivor? Do you lead with something that everybody's familiar with when you're
Well,
on
yeah,
stage?
yeah. Now, when I do my show, for example, if I come out, the first song I do is "Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher." I'll walk out with that and get everybody up and dancing, and then I do a couple of songs that I recorded. I do a little bit of everything. I do Andrea Bocelli. Um, I do some songs from Broadway. I do a lot of dance stuff. So I do a little bit of everything because I've been in so long. I learned so many genders. You know.
That's interesting. I've been watching. Even a lot of these stars appear now on TV. Did you ever appear on TV like the soap operas?
Many times, Pearl. Many
Many,
times.
really?
Yeah.
I see it now. Like I was watching, I'm hooked on the Golden Girls. Well, now a lot of them are dead and gone, but I'm hooked on the Golden Girls when they come across a singer, and they're all like in their glory because they're hearing them all over again. I thought of you, and I'm saying, I wonder if he ever appeared on these shows.
Yeah. But when with the Soul Survivors, we were on Joey Bishop. We did Hullabaloo, which was a big television show from Chicago, with Shirley and company. When I did Shame, Shame, Shame with her, she got a gold record in every country, by the way. And we were on television in Europe. It was called Ring Parade, which was like the Ed Sullivan show is here. Went all over Europe. We did that. We did. I did so many shows in Germany, television shows. In Italy, the funny part, I'll always remember this. The host of the show in Italy came up to me and he went, "You know, the camera love you. You have a charisma and simpatico." I always remember that.
Because you have to have that charisma. Besides the voice, you have to have everything else, and you do. That's what keeps you going, I think. But I think sometimes I wonder, is it Philadelphia? Were all the winners from Philadelphia, or am I just prejudiced?
Philadelphia has a rich history of music that came out. That's where that Philadelphia Music Alliance Walk of Fame comes in. I mean, you're talking about Dee Dee Sharp and all those 50s, but then you're talking about the sound of Philadelphia, which we, the Soul Survivors, were the catalyst for. Because Expressway to Your Heart was Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff's first national hit, and it opened the door to the sound of Philadelphia. The plaque on Broad Street reads, Expressway, Soul Survivors, the catalyst to the sound of Philadelphia.
Well, you're going to hear from this show even a lot of, if they called you and said, "Can you come on the show?" You would. Am I right? Or
Oh, absolutely.
okay, you were also the pioneer of the Blue Eye Soul. What was that all about?
Well, we weren't quite pioneers, but we were known as Blue-Eyed Soul, which means we were white singing R&B in this, the early '60s. When we grew up in New York. Me, Richie, and Charlie, Soul Survivors, and that's what we listened to. We didn't listen to the bubblegum stations and the stations that were playing top 40. So when we came out singing, we sang Sam and Dave, Hold On, I'm Coming. We sang Walking the Dog, Wilson Pickett stuff. That's what we grew up on, and of course that was we gravitated to. And people like the Righteous Brothers, white people that sang R&B, were known as Blue-Eyed Soul. And that's what we were, Blue-Eyed Soul.
Did you hit the black stations? Did they
Oh,
pick it up?
that's a funny thing. When Expressway first came out, all the black stations picked it up. Because Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff were the producers, but we sounded black. And so we were wondering, how come they don't put our picture on the record? And we went to the record company and they said, they don't know you're white. So they were playing it. And they're the ones that broke the record. They're the ones that made it a hit. And then once it crossed over to FIL and IBG, then our picture came out. But in the beginning, they held it back because they didn't want anybody to know we were white. The only one who knew we were a white group, Butterball.
Look at that. It's interesting because you mentioned stations, WIBG, boy, and WFIL. I mean, it's interesting. I remember those stations, unbelievable. I mean, even with my record, with Frank Virtue, he was trying to get it on WIBG, and it was that if you hit it on WIBG, you made it. You know?
Oh, Ron, you're in the picture here.
Yeah, for you singing on the stations and the Philadelphia stations, but you wonder. I mean, why did all these stars come out in the Philadelphia area?
Well, Philadelphia, it's like Motown was. You know, you have a lot of stars that came out of Motown, but Philadelphia has a rich history all the way back to the 50s. You know, you had Cameo Parkway records that broke so many hit records, you know, and Philadelphia has that.
Did New York and New Jersey, there's some of these stars, did they come out with the rest? Did they keep on going, or a lot of them just quit?
New York had a lot of, you know who we grew up with and who were friends of ours. They were a local New York band at the time, and we used to go see them. The Rascals.
The Rascals, I remember them. Yes. The Little Rascals, though, right? They were called the Little Rascals?
They were young Rascals. When they first came out, they were Young Rascals, and then they just changed it to Rascals.
It's amazing. And we have in Hollywood, naturally we have the thing, all their footprints and everything of the stars. Why don't they have that in Philadelphia? You know, why did Philadelphia go downhill when it comes to a lot of these singers?
No, that's the Walk of Fame. They're all on there. Everyone has the plaque.
Everyone has to apply, you know. So it's interesting. So do you still talk to all of them, or you just don't see them no more, just on the stage?
Well, I talk to Dee Dee all the time. Dee Dee Sharp. She's a dear friend of mine.
Mashed
I worked
potatoes.
I worked with her last October at the Senior America pageant at resorts. We play it every year, and Dee Dee is one on the board there. You know. And
Wow.
she's a lovely woman and singing better than ever.
Really?
She has a new song out now.
Really?
Yeah.
So she's still singing. Now this is the one she sang the mashed potato, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
mashed
that's what I thought.
potato time.
You know what? I admire these. I admire you and admire these people because you didn't die. You didn't die there by saying that's it.
Well, thank you.
No, you didn't die to say I'm going to quit. Let me go into another field, because you did your best and you're still doing your best. And there's people out there. I mean, they're still going to love you. Let me ask you though. How about the younger kids? Do you perform for the younger kids?
The only advice I give the younger kids is, you know, if your heart is in it and you're willing to sacrifice and work hard, then stay in it. If you don't have the heart to, you know, there's going to be a lot of heartbreak in this. I mean, there are times you won't get paid. You'll be thrown out of places. You'll be, you know, there's a lot of things that happen here. There's a lot of backstabbing that goes on. You know,
it's amazing when you go. Do they recognize you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, let's say you walk the streets of Philadelphia. Do they recognize you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I walked into Caesars last night. There must have been 5 people that went, "Oh, Kenny from Soul Survivor. Oh yeah, Kenny, Jeremiah Hunter. Yeah, we just saw you last month." You know,
that's an honor. See,
my
that would be an honor.
friend who owns the restaurant in Wildwood was in Florida. And I talked to him yesterday, and he said to me, "What is it with you? I'm down here in Florida. 15 people ask me, 'Hey, how's Kenny?' You know,
If you
when you
had to
have a,
move, if you had to move to Florida, would you make it big down there? Would you start it?
oh, I couldn't work as much down there. I would have to, because there are so many communities that are 55 and over that are made for what we play, like what music I like and what, I mean, we can relate to that stuff. So people that come down and work in Florida, they love it down there. You know, in fact, I might do something this year down in Florida because I have friends down there and family.
It's not a bad idea, since you said Florida is the in spot where everybody's moving to.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have a lot of communities like Holiday City, where they're all 55 and over communities, and they have functions every night. They have these parties and these dance parties. Uh, if I go down there, I'll never come home.
That is that good down there though. I think it's great because a lot of people don't know. They always wonder where did they go? Where did this one go? Where did that one go? Janis Joplin, Smokey Robinson, Jackie Wilson, Richie Haven. Where did they go? So they really don't look on their internet. If they looked on their internet and pulled them up, they would see. Am I right?
Yeah.
If they
Well,
pulled
Janis
you
Joplin.
up, they would see where you're at next.
Yeah.
So if I had to look you up to see where you're playing next, would you know?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me in Wikipedia, but I have a website called KennyJeremiah.com.
Okay, so they would know where you're playing next at.
Well, Facebook is the best place to find me because I post everything daily on wherever I am. So people know me all the time on Facebook.
Okay.
In fact, I'm updating now. I'm just putting a flyer together for, the end of this month where I'm going to be.
So would they have to just go on Facebook, or would they have to? Is there any other place on the computer they can go to find out where you are? The people that don't have Facebook.
They can go to my website, KennyJeremiah.com.
Wait a minute. Say that again. It's your name.com,
Kenny,
right?
yeah. Kenny Jeremiah is Jeremiah.com.
It's amazing. Now, if somebody contacted you and said, "Come to Vegas or come to California, we want you to perform now," would you go or could you go?
Would you know my first question would be?
Go ahead. How much am
How
I getting
much?
paid?
How much? If it's worth it, I'll be there tomorrow.
Really, really.
Why would I want to go there and not make any money?
No, you're right. You're right. You can't say for the publicity because you already have all the publicity, and
That's what
everybody.
oh, but it's good exposure. I don't need exposure.
I'll tell you what I think they don't have. And they don't have it in Philly too. And I think if they did, it would. They should have one place. I don't know where. Maybe Jerry Blavitt has it, but they should have one place once a year, maybe twice a year, where everybody comes together. Everybody comes together and singing. I'd bet there'd be a hit, like thousands of people coming.
Oh, you would have a festival.
Yeah. Well, how come
That's
they
a
don't do
fest.
that? How come?
Well, they do to a certain extent. In Wildwood, at the end of the summer, they have what they call a block party. It's in Fox Park, which is directly across the street from the convention center. And the music goes from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night with all different acts. And they have them. So I've opened for the Tramps, Evelyn Champagne King, who else? Tavares,
If
stuff like that.
it's good though. The people that I deal with, I mean, not that saying everybody has credit problems, but a lot of people do have credit problems, and a lot of people that I know are in the business. But as I said, on KHTS, it's a radio show in California, and the host of the show, and believe it or not, she'll be watching today. She's done a lot for me. And who else is going to be listening today is somebody that works at Vegas, and they all want some new stuff. You know what I'm saying? They want new things of the old school.
Right,
And
I got you.
you're perfect. You are perfect. Now, if you had to call up all your old friends, would they come with you or not?
Which old friends?
Well, the old people in the business.
Well, it all depends. I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, we were just at the Hard Rock last year
Right.
at the new Hard Rock Casino here in Atlantic City. And I put together my band, Jeremiah Hunter, and what's now the Soul Survivors, because there's only two of the original left, me and Charlie Ingwe. And Charlie has his own band, the Soul Survivors. So we put the two bands together back to back, and we played the Hard Rock Cafe. And it was totally successful because of that nostalgia thing. But, you know, it costs money.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything costs money. When you first go on the stage, though, what's your first song that you normally sing?
I change it up. It doesn't. I look at the. You look at the audience, and you know. I've been in this business so long. I know what will go, what won't go. I don't start with the same song all the time.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a little empty, so I'll start with a little slight, a little backed off song. If it's crowded, I come out and I kick butt.
Now, how about the high schools today and the colleges? Are they familiar with your team or no?
Well, like I said, the younger people would recognize that song once they hear the beginning. Like with My Girl, the song My Girl.
Yes.
When you hear that bass line, dun, 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 you know exactly. Even the young kids know that's My Girl. Well, with Expressway, when you hear that bass line, dun, 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 you know exactly it's Expressway.
They know where you're coming from with it.
Yeah.
About your personal life, you have any animals?
No. I don't like to clean up poop.
No, I was going to say, because then you couldn't take off where you wanted to take off at, right? You wanted to take
No.
off. I think I'm impressed. I'm impressed because years ago I used to say to Frank Virtue, where do these stars go today? Where do they go? And he said they're still going strong.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you do. You still go strong. And I think I didn't believe you did because of, like, you always see Frankie Avalon at Jersey and Fabian and Bobby Rydell, and you think, are they doing this because they can't go anyplace else? But you're saying no, this is the thing that they have to do, right?
Oh, they're world famous. I mean, they can go anywhere they want, and and the casinos down here love them. They sell out. You know who? I'll be March 18th. I will be at the Broadcast Pioneers. I belong to the Broadcast Pioneers in Philadelphia.
Me too. Go ahead.
Well, then you got to be there March 18th.
March 18th. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a rock and roll spring show.
Really?
Billy Carlucci will be there. Johnny Patillo from Danny and the Juniors. Billy, of course, from Billy and the Essentials. John Monforto, who is a tremendous tribute artist. He does Elvis, Frank Sinatra. He does 17 people. And we're there all the time. Like 2 or 3 times a year, Broadcast Pioneers puts on what they call a rock and roll luncheon.
Okay. Christmas
time, springtime, and then in September, I think we do one. But March 18th is the next one, and you got to come.
I will come. I'm a member of still Broadcast Pioneer. I used to go as a regular, but then I stopped.
Jerry Wilkinson just retired.
I know. I seen that. I got a letter that the president retired. I'm thinking, why? Why are these people? What are they doing?
Well, that's a lot of hard work. That's a really lot of hard work.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody that comes and everybody that's there, and I miss it. I do miss it because there was a lot of information that you learned. I mean, I had so many memories, and they're still there. I mean, every I get letters, I get everything. When are you coming? When are you coming? I will be there though. I will be there that time.
Mark it down, Pearl. Mark it down.
I am right now because you're going to say it's a special event there.
Yeah, it happens like 3 times a year. And it's the most popular because it's entertainment. Bob Charger will be the MC. I forget who. Oh, Laurie St. Martin is on it. Who else? There's several. There's like 7 of us that are going to be performing that night.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You know who comes to see me all the time when I do my dance party?
Who?
In Williamstown. Billy Carlucci.
Oh, okay, Billy Carlucci.
Yeah.
Now, how is he doing, and what is he doing now?
He's still performing. He has he has a show every Tuesday night with Patty Latanzi at Philomena's. They have a show where people come and sing, and then he's on the radio the following Thursday. They broadcast the show. So, he's doing great. He's still working everywhere, and
Wow.
he's recording.
Wow.
He's still recording. So,
Mm-mm-mm.
us old guys are still doing it.
You can't say old guys because, as I said, you look fantastic. You really do. And I'm not just saying it, but you really look fantastic. If they would have said,
Thank you,
how,
Pearl.
when people say how old they are and never, I go by the expression, how they talk, their appearance. You look fantastic. And same with Frankie Avalon and Bobby Rydell. They look fantastic too. So they're doing something right. And you, if you're going to the gym all the time, is that the secret?
Yeah.
That's the.
Well, what I do in the morning, there's a bicycle path right by my house. So I'll go out early in the morning. I bring my weights and I walk a couple of miles, and I do my exercises. Sometimes when it's raining, I'll do it in my porch. I have stuff, and like that, and it's just what I do.
Oh
It's
wow.
my way of life, Pearl.
Wow. So, and there's nothing else you would want to do. Am I right? I'm
What would I
sure your
want to?
parents are your parents still alive?
No, they passed a while ago.
Okay.
My mother. Here's a funny story. So when I graduated high school, first thing my mother said to me is, "Don't think you're going to hang around the house all summer. You're going to go out. You're going to get a job, and then you're going to pay us room and board. And if you want a car, you're going to pay for it. We'll help you, but you're going to pay for it." That's the first thing she said to me. Not, "Hey, I'm glad you graduated." So I went out. I was 18 years old, 17 going on 18. I got a job as a junior clerk in New York Trust Company, and I worked there for two years. They merged with Chemical Corn, and it became Chemical Bank. I worked for Chemical Bank, and maybe 3 4 years, I hated it. I couldn't stand it. I had ulcers, and I just hated the job. So I quit. And I said, "I want to sing for a living. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sing." My mother went crazy. She was screaming, "Are you crazy? You gave up that great job, and you're never going to make it as a singer."
Mm-mm-mm.
We recorded, and it started to be a hit. Do you know who my biggest fan was?
Your
My
mother.
mother.
Your mother. Your
she
mother
would
with it.
she would go around to the neighborhood. "This is my son's record. Listen to it."
And that's something. I think she was more paranoid and afraid for you. That's what it was. She was
She
more afraid
was.
for
She
you
was
because then
afraid
after
that.
you seen that this is what you wanted and this is what you could do, now she's seeing the past coming back, and I know she was proud of you with it. How
Well,
about your father?
God bless my father, because when she was screaming, my father took me aside and he went, "Are you sure you know what you want to do? Is this what you really want to do?" And I said, "Pop, this is what I want to do. I can't stand another day in the bank." And he said, "Okay, don't worry. I'll take care of your mother. I'll calm her down." And he
Sure, you're not
said,
Italian.
"I am Italian."
Oh, you are Italian. Okay,
And,
okay.
and
So I was going to say
my
the
father,
Italian people would say that. The mothers would say that.
yeah, my father said, "Don't worry. You do it. But if you want to do it, you do it the best you can." And that was the advice he gave me. Yeah. Yeah, my mother was like strictly Italian with the spoon.
Yes, yes. It's interesting. When you go back in your family and you see what they thought of you and what they, what you had. I know my parents would say, once you move out, it's out. You can't come back in.
That's it, yeah.
So you had to make it. You had no choice but to make it.
Oh, she laid down a law. I mean, when I tell you, it was I think a Friday afternoon I graduated. Saturday morning, that's what she told me. She didn't even say, "I'm proud of you. You graduated with honors." Nothing. "You think you're going to hang around the house? No, you're not. You're going out and getting a job."
No, it is so true. It is so true. And I remember when I made the first record under Frank Virtue. Oh, that was so many years ago. My family, they were so against it. They're saying, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Become a singer?" All of a sudden, you got a good voice. You're going to become a singer. And I thought, "Oh my God, now what do I do?" So I had to get a job. I had to get a job. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. But
Yeah.
you know what? If they're looking down, and they are, and they're seeing, look how far you came and look how far you're going, you know? That,
Well, I made a promise to my father, and they used to come and see me. We worked at Bally. We were the house band at Bally for years, and they would come, and my mother would bring a whistle, and she'd get up and stand in the audience and whistle, and blow the whistle.
now, why would she blow the whistle though? To get her attention or to get your attention?
To get the people's attention, because we were singing, and like she enjoyed it, so she'd just get up and blow the whistle.
Amazing, amazing. Did you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one brother
Okay.
who is a singer also, but he like I said, he had a family, he had to support them. He worked all his life, and he just retired a few years ago, and now he's singing. In fact, he sings with me. Sometimes we
Oh
do
my
a
God.
duet. But he
Oh,
just retired, and that's what he's got a better voice than I have. He's got a beautiful voice.
and look at that, he went right back into the business again, you know?
Oh yeah, he
That's-
works in New York. There's a place called Prima Pasta, and he gets up and sings there and destroys the place. They love him there.
And he probably loves it and probably regrets that he never took it. They took it away from
Well, he always wanted to sing,
him. Yeah,
but again, when you have family obligations,
you gotta
he
do what
he
you
had
gotta
two
do.
children that he had to put through school, and he had to work. He couldn't take this job when you don't have a record and you're not a star. You can't support a family like that.
Yeah,
Making $100 here and maybe 2 weeks later making $150 over there.
yeah.
Doesn't work.
That's tough, and you wonder. I mean, you know the stars back then and the singers back then. A lot of people. Debbie Gibson, you know her, correct?
Sure.
Okay, she's a friend of mine as well. But Debbie Gibson, it's interesting because they made their songs years ago, and you wonder, do they have to go someplace else to make their money, or can they stay in the business of singing? Or I mean, it's sad because you wonder how far can they go to stay in the business that they love. But you did. You're a good example, and I hope they're all watching because you're a good example of it. You stayed where you're at.
Well, you know what you have to be willing to do?
What?
And some of these people who have had hit records and stuff like that are not willing to work the lesser jobs. And if you're not willing, I'm worth more than that. They got to pay me. No. If someone wants to hire you, and think about it, the bill comes in, your water bill comes in, your electric bill comes in, your house bill, my property taxes come in. They don't care. Those bills don't care if I worked a little less or I worked here where it was beneath me to work. They don't care where I got the money. They care that bill has to be paid. And that's how I look at it. Look, like I said, I work down the shore. Sometimes I help him out. But I'm fortunate enough, I'm in a position where I can.
Yeah.
I can do that. But I'm humble also.
Yeah.
I don't look at myself and say, well, I'm too good to work this place. I don't do that.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. 100% because you're getting the people to get to know you all over again. And then you see, hey, I'm not da-di-da, that you got to pay
Yeah.
me this. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people, oh my God,
Well, he wants to be interviewed too.
he wants to be it too. He's trying to make it famous himself.
Woof, woof.
Because I give him treats. I give him treats when he comes. I said I have to do a dog show one time when I'm here because every time I come, he does it, follows me all over the place to see who the guest is. He wanted you to see him. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I'm hoping that to other singers that are out there that want to make it big, and not even want to make it big, they want to continue it, and they're afraid to. And they're saying, you know what am I going to do? I got to pay the bills. I got to do this. I got to do that. But if you want it bad enough, I think if you want it bad enough, you're going to pay the price. Because if you pay the price, it'll happen. I'm going to tell you, it'll happen.
That's what they call paying dues. But like I say to young people, you're going to be prepared to sacrifice. There'll be times where you think, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. But if you really want it, you can.
I agree. I agree with you. It all depends on how bad you want it. And look, you're a
Exactly.
good
Yeah.
example. You're a good example of that. I remember when I wrote my first book, no one wanted it because no one knew about credit, and I didn't give up. I was determined. I didn't care who I hurt. I hate to say it. I didn't care who I hurt. I had to get where I wanted to go, but it paid off. It did pay
Well,
off.
that's it. That's intent. You are. I intend that this is going to happen, and
You,
it happens. You know.
do you think you'll make any other new songs?
I just recorded one a couple of weeks ago.
Really? What's it called?
Yeah,
And
Besame
where do you
Mucho.
get it at?
Well, I haven't released that one yet, but all my other stuff is on YouTube. It's on iTunes. You can get it at CD Baby. You can get it anywhere. Anywhere you download music, you can get it. But YouTube, you can get my videos too. You can see them. They're all on YouTube.
And what's the new
Yeah.
one called?
Besame Mucho.
Oh my God. Is that a what does it mean?
Well, Besame Mucho is an old classic Spanish song.
Okay.
So many people have done it, but I did it as a dance version, and I did it half in Spanish and half in English.
Oh my God. Is that
Yeah.
that you know what? I guess they don't have the 45s anymore, huh?
Well, you know what? They're collector's items now. You know,
Yes, they
people
are.
like to go back to vinyl,
Yeah.
but yeah. But
Yeah.
I've done several different songs that, for example, uh, Mark Anthony had a song called "I Will Be Your Hero," and it was a ballad. I did an arrangement, a dance arrangement, and Bob Pantana was doing a radiothon for Children's Hospital, and he said, "Why don't we use that song, Hero?" And we did, and it became their theme song, and we raised money for them through that.
Wow, it's interesting with it. At the end, I always talk about the credit part. Kenny, I can't thank you enough. I can't
Oh,
thank
I
you enough
thank you.
for coming on the show. I really can't thank you enough.
This was fun, Pearl. Oh, and please, when you talk to Josie Brandon, tell her
Yes, I
I
will. Yes, I will. I talk to her practically every day, so I will
cool.
tell her. But it's interesting when it's when you do something and you're comfortable with it. Because I'm comfortable with even music. But being in the recording business, I always would love people that sang and stuff like that with it. But when you do something that you really love, you don't quit it. You keep on going on and on and on and on because eventually it will happen. And I'm going to say it will happen. Just, I mean, I can raise my hand there, and now you can raise your hand there. You're going to be shown all over between California show.
All right.
Yeah, it's going to be all over, and I'm gonna plug it myself with it because I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, and I'm so glad when Ron said he got you on the show. I said, "Oh my God!" I was all anxious and I couldn't wait. But now that I'm seeing you, you look so good. You're probably sick of me here saying it, but you
No,
really
I never get sick of hearing that.
yeah, I want to thank you again. I want to thank you again for being on the show. Now the
Pearl,
end
my
5 minutes,
pleasure.
but thank you for coming on the Pro Polto show, and I'm glad to see you again. I'm going to talk on the last 5 minutes about credit, but I always say,
But
go ahead.
anyway, before I go, KennyJeremiah.com. That's my website if you want to stay in touch with me. And that'll bring you to my Facebook page if you want. And there's videos. There's my recordings are on there too. So thank you. Thank you so much, Pearl.
No, I
Thank you.
got to thank you. I got to thank you when he said he got you with it. And I always say, winners deal with the truth, losers believe what they say. So you never know what you're going to say. But anyway, for the last couple of minutes, anybody out there, because this is a special show, you're going to get a very special when it comes to your credit rights and credit. Anybody out there that has a credit problem, please call my toll-free number, 1-800-876-CREDIT, CRED. And I'm getting many calls now from the host from California and from the person in Vegas. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you, not just for the people and referrals. I go by referrals only, but now they're doing free advertisement. And this is what it's all about. When you have talent, go for it. Go for it and don't turn it away. And as I said, it could be you could have good credit, you get a bad credit, but in today's economy, everybody has to. If you have to get a mortgage, we deal with mortgage companies. If you have to deal with credit cards, if you want a credit card, you deal with it. I mean, I love it when people say, I can't get a credit card, I can't get this, I can't get that. And then they call me back to say, I can't thank you enough. I got my first credit card, and I got good credit. Speaking about that, do you have good credit?
For
Kenny?
me,
Yeah.
I, I have excellent credit.
See that? I love it. I love to hear that. And everybody out there, you hear that? He's got excellent credit, and that's where you want to
Excellent.
be. That's where you want to be. If you want to have, if you credit problems, all you have to do, I answer the phones, I talk to everybody. But it's a plus right now in California because a friend of mine has her own radio show, and it's on KHTS. Her name is Dr. Linda Savin, and she's been advertising me all over the place. And if she only knew, and she does know, that I'm getting calls left and right. I don't even have 5 minutes, and I love it. I love it because that's what I do. Same with Kenny. That's what he does. That's what he does best. So we don't have time. I don't have time to go out to dinner. I want to, but I don't have time. And I'd rather be doing work. I'd rather be talking to you, the consumers, the clients, and die this way. You live and die by what you believe in. And I always say at the end of the show, winners deal with the truth. Losers believe what they say. So they can go on and on and on, but you're never going to say anything because no one's going to believe you if you're trying to convince everybody. So again, this is Pearl Polto. As always, making the most of your credit, giving credit where credit's due. But today, it's the Kenny. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for appearing on the show.
Thank you, Pearl.